Hey guys, Christian with Team Gap here. Just going to be doing a quick deck list on Blue Green Rookie Rush for the BT4 format. I know that that's definitely kind of weird to hear with BT5 being right around the corner, but kind of wanted to do a deck list on it. I was successful with this deck at some of the online events in June and July, and especially with the upcoming Bandai regional events in August. It looks like some of those are actually still going to be on the BT4 format. So figured I would do a deck list on Rookie Rush in case some people were hesitant on what deck to play for those events. This is definitely something you might want to look at. I was successful in some of the June and July events. I played in the Top Cut June Bandai event. I played in the Top Cut July Bandai event. Those are out of 256 players. I took eighth in the June one. I took fourth in the July one. I was actually one of the last two undefeateds in the July events, and I lost to the eventual winner in the last round there. So I'll probably put some images of that up there for you. In the July Carta Magna event, if I'm saying that right, I did play Rookie Rush there as well. Had a pretty awful day, so it's not all easy with this deck. But here's my take on it. So. We just play the four Upamon for eggs. We are not playing the fifth egg, which some people play. It would be like a Demi Vmon. I think it's just more important in making sure you can get draws off Upamon. The only draw you would get off the Demi is the Vmon. If you open that and you open that egg, it's not too often that that happens though. So I just prefer the consistency of drawing off the Upamon. You don't really ever need the fifth egg either. If you're going to your fifth egg, you're probably playing against McDonald's, which is not good, or it's just that late into the game, which also not good. So I just think having the four eggs probably the best setup. For the vanilla blue rookies, we're going to be playing 4 Elecmon, 3 Goma. We just play 7 of these. You can play whatever ratio you want, but these are good 2 drop rookies, 3K DP, so better than the 2K and 1K that some of your other rookies are at. They'll live sometimes through security checks, which is good. Really, the big thing is being a 0 cost evolution and then also a 2 cost rookie. Being able to play 2 rookies in one turn is super important. So if your opponent passes 2 memory to you, you can play 2 of these guys in a turn, which is awesome. More bodies out for Rookie Rush, the better. The next set of rookies that we play is going to be the best rookie in the game, honestly, Vmon. Everybody knows him. He's jamming. He's 2K DP, but jamming is really the biggest thing. He will live through any checks, really, other than security ones that would be options. So this guy's awesome. Really, your MVP. Anytime a rookie's living through a security check, that's huge. And then the last set of blue rookies that we play, and you can kind of play different ratios of this depending on what you prefer, but I play 4 Strabimon and 3 Gabumon. Some people will play more Gabu or less of whatever. It's kind of personal preference. I came to this ratio. I really like Strabimon. I mean, he digs for himself. He digs for Lobomon, which is humongous in this deck, and he also digs for Davis, which is super, super important. So I put a little bit more value on Strabimon. Obviously, you can whiff when you play this, which does hurt when it happens, but I just prefer having the Strabimon at 4. He also has 2K DP instead of 1K, which actually does come up. Gabumon, he's just a straight up draw one, which there's definitely value in that. Being at 1K, the only weakness with that is in the yellow war gray matchup, if they play Koromon as their egg, these guys die to just basic attacks if they're at 3 security, so that hurts so bad to lose a body for nothing on board just from a Koromon play. So keep that in mind. That's something that does come up fairly often in the yellow matchups. You just want to be careful on that. But I play 4 Straby, 3 Gabu. That's it for blue rookies. And since this is blue green, we do play a couple green rookies, which are going to be 4 Plant Men and 4 Lion Men. That's Ruromon and Lylemon. Um, just basic rookies, 2 costs. So again, you can kind of memory control your opponent with them, and them being at 5K is really big actually. And again, anytime rookies live, that's huge. 5K gets around War Growl, so that's pretty big. If they, are investing 2 DP reduction sources to kill 1 rookie, it is what it is. You'll take that every day. So these live against a lot of things. They let you play your green options, and they are just beaters. They're really, really strong. For your level 4s, I'm going to be playing 3 Gorilla, which Gorilla's awesome. Just being 6k, 1 cost evolution, he's very, very strong. He gets over any of the 5k blockers, which are pretty common since the 5k blockers are all the 1 cost evolution. He trades with any of the 6k blockers, which are the 2 cost evolution, so really, really important to have him. One thing that actually pops up a fair amount is you'll have like a rookie out, and then you'll have a Gorillamon out. And if your opponent has a blocker, you can always just put them in that weird position of you're going to swing with Gorilla first. If they have a 5k blocker, they're probably not going to block your Gorilla off that because they don't want to lose their Digimon for nothing. So you'll get a security check with him. Then you can decide what to do with your other one. You don't have to attack with your other rookie, regardless of what it is, if you want to save them from the blocker. If they have a 6k blocker out, they're kind of in that same position of do I trade? If they do, perfect. Then you could swing with him after. And if they don't, you're just getting a free check with him. So you don't always have to attack, and Gorilla kind of gives you that flexibility if you are running into him, since he gets over a lot of them. Gorilla's awesome. The other level 4 is going to be XVmon. XVmon, everybody knows him. When you play him, he's a 2 cost Digivolution or Digi-Evolution. He lets you restand any level 4 or lower Digimon, which that is all of your Digimon except for Puppetmon. So he can restand anything. He really just lets you reach a little bit further in checks. He can be lethal. People don't expect it. You can play multiple in a turn if you have enough rookies out, and just extra attacks. It's huge. The other thing too is sometimes you're not always doing this just to re-attack. Sometimes you're doing this just to stand like an important Digimon so they live and they don't get counter-attacked. Like sometimes if your opponent leaves you with one, memory, you'll promote a Vmon, you'll swing into security, it'll live. You can just drop X Vmon to pass turn, restand your Digimon so he lives for the next turn. It's there's some different kind of plays you can do with it. And then the last level 4 is going to be Lobo. He's searchable off Strabimon, which is awesome. He, plays over either any of your rookies, or you can play him over Davis, which is amazing. Um, just, going for lethal in ways that your opponent doesn't expect. They always have to account for XVmon plays. They have to account for Lobomon plays. You can kind of play some mind games with it too. But Lobomon is awesome since you can dig for him. And, I mean, just look at that art. He's the coolest card in the deck, honestly. And then the last Digimon that you play, it's going to be Puppetmon. Probably the MVP of the deck, honestly. People hate Puppetmon. I hate Puppetmon, even being, a blue-green player. He taps one thing on play, and then everything that is tapped does not untap during your opponent's unsuspend phase. It almost feels like whenever you're playing Puppetmon, you're either playing it to not lose the next turn, or you're playing it to set up lethal for yourself. Puppetmon is so good into so many decks. Really bad into a couple specific ones, but he's just really good. If your opponent overextends, you can Puppet to punish them and really win the next turn. It's an amazing card. Players always have to account for Puppet because he wins games by himself. He is so good. And there's a couple cheeky plays I'll show with this with a couple other cards. But that's all the Digimon. So going into options, we play 4 Hammer Spark, the best option in the game. Honestly, it feels like it just gives you 1 memory on your turn. A lot of your plays revolve around having like 3 or 4 memory depending on what you're doing, and Hammer Spark helps you get there. So Hammer Spark Davis gets you to 4. That lets you do either 2 Lobomon plays or XVmon plays. It gives you a lot of flexibility. So checking these in security as well is backbreaking for your opponent. It gives you 2 memory. It almost feels like one of the awesome things about Rookie Rush is opponents will feel pressured to match you. They feel like they have to keep pace with checking security or they're gonna, lose that race. And if they check in, a risky way and hit a Hammer Spark or other options, those swing games. Like if turn passes off of this, that is so huge. It is. You can't really understate how important it is to be careful about checking Hammer Sparks and security. The other options we play is actually Aqua Viper. That's one of the BT4 inclusions. Awesome card. Bounce one of your Digimon to bounce 2 of their level 4 or lower. Lets you bounce blockers, which is really the biggest utility on it. You can block 2 blockers of your opponent, or bounce two blockers, and it sets them further back than it sets you back. You know, you're bouncing one Digimon, they're losing two, they're losing out just on a lot of tempo there. So there are a couple of really cheeky Puppetmon plays you can do with a two. Like if I Puppetmon the turn before, you know, the opponent passes turn, I can actually, you know, if I have Davis out and I'm at three memory, I can swing with Puppetmon to go to four. I can Aqua Viper it back to hand. I'd go down to one, and that's perfect amount of memory to be able to play this again and Puppetmon a second time to put them at 10. That is a really strong play. Being able to Puppetmon multiple times in a row and just with the same Puppetmon. Some people don't expect that to happen. So the other cool thing, you can Aqua Viper your own Gabumons and Strabimons back to hand. You can replay them for their effects. You also don't have to bounce anything. So if your opponent doesn't have Digimon out, or if you don't want to bounce like a specific level 4, or if you don't want to give them, I don't know, like an on-play ability again, you don't have to bounce stuff. So there's a little bit of flexibility there, and that has come up before for me. But yeah, Aqua Viper, super awesome. Sometimes I want to play more than two. Tough to find room, though, honestly. Needle Spray's the next one up for options. It replaced Flower Cannon. Just a little bit more utility with this guy. You can tap anything when it's checked in security versus Flower Cannon just checks everything that's not a blocker. A lot of times a blocker is what you're going to be tapping with this anyway, so it's a little bit better in that regard. Plus you add it to hand, so you can tap a second blocker as well, or save it for a better time to use. So really flexible. I like it a little bit better than Flower Cannon, though I have seen people still play Flower Cannon. Kind of up to you. And then our last option that we play is going to be one Positron Laser. Awesome card, 6 cost. If you play it, you can select two Digimon on your opponent's side. They can't attack or block until the end of their next turn. If you also have a blue Digimon out, you can bounce a suspended Digimon to their hand. This is so important in the yellow matchup. I almost want to find room for a second, but stopping a Wargray stack from attacking, game changing. They obviously can't get all their inheritable effects off or get their DP reduction effects off. You can also pick stacks that aren't a Wargreymon yet. You can pick a level 5, and even if that evolves into a Wargreymon, they still can't attack with it. Anytime you can do anything that makes a Wargreymon not be able to attack, huge. You can also bounce back anything that's suspended, so against other decks, it's amazing. So that's why Puppetmon's so good too into yellow, just being able to stop Wargreymons from attacking. Really awesome card. And obviously checking that security can be absolutely brutal as well. And then the last card we play is our Memory Tamer, Davis. Davis is awesome. Again, the majority of your plays revolve around 4 memory. So having this plus a spark, you're always going to be at 4. He's even more important now that you have Lobomons, that you can put Lobomon on top of a Davis to attack. That's awesome. And then just his effect is so good too. You play 11 green Digimon in this deck, so chance of hitting a green, they're up there. Plus, if you hit a blue and a green, you grab both. It's just amazing. So that's it. That's the list. There's not too much to Rookie Rush. You're attacking. You got to be smart about what Digimon you play on what turn, and that's about it. Any questions? Feel free to ask in the comments, and good luck going forward, guys.